Hi, everyone, and welcome to this session of our Becoming series, where we come together to learn about careers in energy efficiency. We're very grateful to have the two sponsors we have that make this series possible. That's Natural Resources Canada and Electricity Human Resources Canada. Both sponsors are key in growing the energy efficiency workforce, and we couldn't do this without them. The Becoming series is where we get to sit down and meet leaders in our sector, such as Disha, and hear their story of how they got started, what skills are important for their role, and advice they have for people that are looking to follow in their footsteps. I also want to start this event with a line acknowledgement. I live and work in Montreal, Quebec. Montreal is located on the unceded Indigenous lands of the Ganégahaga Nation, who are recognized as the custodians of the lands and waters of Tiohtià:ke, otherwise known as Montreal. After the event, you can join our Discovery Hub. It's an online platform full of courses, events, and networking opportunities to make it easy to thrive in the energy efficiency sector. You can join a specific role, find training courses, hear from people in the sector, and just learn more about opportunities in the energy efficiency space. We've recently launched a job board, so you can also check that out in case there are any roles you're looking at getting into. So this month, I'm very happy to introduce Disha Veena Giridhar. Disha currently works as a lead generation and outreach manager at Greensaver. She completed her master's in energy science and stumbled upon energy efficiency. In her role, Disha works on federal and provincial program deployment by matching top-down strategies to on-the-ground realities, and she focuses on what it looks like for consumers. Her typical day involves keeping up with market trends, finding ways to spread an awareness and get the word out about incentives, and solving for clients with an engineering, finance, and regulatory lens. So that's a lot to take on. Whether it's creative troubleshooting or more extensive innovations, continuous innovation is what drives Disha's engagement and work in the sector. So I'm very excited to introduce Disha today so we can hear from her.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, and thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to speaking with all of you, and welcome everybody. My name is Disha Veena Giridhar. I am the manager for lead generation and outreach at Greensaver. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about what my career journey has been so far in the industry. What does my day-to-day look like in the various roles I've held? What is it that I do in my current role? And then I'm going to pivot a little bit. The pandemic has brought to light what is it that we really want from our jobs. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the purpose and my why for being into this industry, and then focus a little bit on the customer point of view and how do we actually engage customers if you are in a customer-facing role in the energy industry. The story so far. My story begins in India. I completed my mechanical engineering in 2012. I did a brief stint in Kuwait as an oil and gas engineer where I was working on making sure natural gas is processed and refined to get sold. That was very pivotal for me because it gave me an idea of what is it that I wanted to pursue. And the answer was I really wanted to enter a field which was innovation forward, fast moving, very dynamic, and extremely challenging. Just the newness of an industry sometimes makes it complex and challenging. And my family friend and mentor suggested I should look into energy as a field, clean energy as a field. I got into a great university and pursued my master's in energy science, technology, and policy from Carnegie Mellon University. And it was a really great learning experience because although it was engineering, it was still focused on understanding the energy landscape from all different facets: science, technology, finance, policy, and how do they all come together to actually make a solution successful. As I was looking for jobs, I stumbled into being an energy engineer, which is focused on making sure buildings are performing at their most efficient levels possible. I worked in US for about 2 years and decided to shift focus and go a little bit into business development because my background had more than engineering and I wanted to understand different facets of the industry and explore different roles within an organizational structure. Kuwait was really starting to progress on their climate goals at that time. And it was very new. It's a country that is extremely dependent on oil and gas, but wanted to shift mainly towards solar. So my job was to find and develop projects in the solar industry there, which led to my next role, which was focused on business development and innovation in Canada. And it was with a company that was predominantly finance, and the solution was investing in energy efficiency projects and taking away the risk from capital. And here we are today, where I am the manager of lead generation and outreach at Greensaver, which is focused on delivering programs that are designed and created by federal and provincial governments, even utilities and municipalities. So what does a day in each of these roles look like? It was a little bit different on each facet. As an energy engineer, my days were focused very much on technical side of the energy industry. So it involved a lot of site visits, energy audits, modeling, overseeing a team of energy modelers and advisors, reporting, training, upskilling, really mentoring any new hire we had, and project management, making sure the quality was up to the standard that we wanted to present to our clients. The business development and innovation role focused a lot on understanding market. So you can have a technical solution, you can have all the engineering knowledge, but an organization really thrives when the internal employees and the business development team is focused on understanding market trends, analyzing it, keeping up with it, making sure that there is enough pivot and innovation happening in the organization to keep up with all the changes that come in the industry, and we keep meeting the demand and what the industry is asking for. So it was focused on markets, building business cases, proposals, contract negotiation. The innovation side was process improvement, making sure that an organization has processes that moves things along fast, and product development as a part of the role. I was key in developing Canada's first energy efficiency as a service product, and also leading the first ever investor-ready energy efficiency certification in Canada. That leads me to my current role, where although it says lead generation and outreach, it's focused heavily on strategic planning, what direction, what kind of opportunities and partnerships the organization as a whole needs to pursue. Partnerships that bring in leads for programs, making sure that the incentives are aligned in a win-win situation. As lead generation is a core part of it, a lot of my day-to-day also involves enrollment and coaching. So anyone who wants to be a part of the program, why is it beneficial for them? What are the opportunities they could explore? How can they navigate sometimes complex options that they have in front of them? Contracts, progress management, project management, all of these are also a part of my core function as a lead generation and outreach manager. So I chose my current role because it had direct altruistic outcome to it. The programs that we deliver helps their target audience in one way or the other. So the current two programs that we're delivering is the small business program by ISO. It is targeted to help small businesses have some incentives to upgrade their energy infrastructure, lighting, HVAC, or thermostats, for example. it's a little bit of a step to help them recover from the losses they might have faced during the pandemic. The Green Homes Grant is really meant to help homeowners incentivize their energy infrastructure. Let's say someone's boiler was breaking down, $5,000 could help make that choice. I was at a conference recently, and the topic was really about if a homeowner had to choose between either buying the required tools and accessories for their kids to succeed in school versus upgrading an equipment early, they would probably choose their kid. Obviously. And greener homes and grants like this actually help give some relief to such a population where they had to make tough choices and prioritize, and incentives like this help make sure that we keep on the energy efficiency path, but at the same time help citizens and residents of a geographic region. So moving a little bit away from what I do on a day-to-day basis. As I mentioned, during the pandemic, a lot of us have had time, and I personally know a lot of people who had a career pivot. And a lot of times it's about understanding the purpose and motivation. I figured out about a decade ago that solving for climate change was my calling. And I realized why it was as I've reflected more on it throughout the years. Energy industry helps me exercise two muscles that mean the most to me. I love problem solving. I love complex challenges. And the energy industry, unlike other industries in some ways, really needs science and technology, finance, and regulation or policy all to come together for a solution to be truly successful and to have great adoption. And the other reason I love the energy industry is it has such a positive impact on not just one facet of your life, but every single industry that you can imagine. Even on your daily life, you wake up, your phone is charged by the electricity that is delivered to your home. You get hot water from the natural gas or electricity, which is powering the boiler to make the water hot. Transportation, mining, manufacturing, industry, health. All of this is powered by energy. Just imagine that we spend 90% of our time indoors, and we pay very little attention to how the energy is used to power that lifestyle, or how it's actually keeping the air healthy for us to live in. It's amazing. So I threw in a few fun facts about how energy actually impacts our lives and why energy efficiency is important, not just from reducing energy emissions, but also from other qualitative aspects. For example, a building that is energy efficient can have a valuation up to 10% more if it's energy efficient versus not energy efficient. Health problems such as asthma or respiratory issues, there have been research and reports that suggest that there are 12% less visits to the doctor with indoor air quality related health issues. Just in Ontario itself, if we decarbonized all the buildings and made them all net zero, we could reduce up to 60 megatons of greenhouse gas emissions on an annual basis. And who doesn't love savings? Theoretically, you can save up to 100% on your energy bill if you make your home or the office net zero. So this is my favorite part. Let's talk about the customer lens a little bit. So as a consumer, there is a whole host of choices. If someone wants to upgrade their lighting and change it out, the options are LED, CFL, controls, ballast versus ballastless. If I'm not in the energy industry, I wouldn't even know what is ballast versus ballastless. Want to upgrade your heating equipment? There's baseboards, furnaces, heat pumps. You want to add in air conditioning? There are coolers, fans. There are cool solutions like solar, having electric vehicles in your home. There's geothermal, there's batteries, insulation. Even within finance, there are so many rebates and incentives flooding the market. There are low interest loans, forgivable loans. You can lease or rent equipment, or you can use your own money, whether you're a homeowner or a business, and take money out of the reserves and savings and invest in capital upgrades. Regulatory compliance, this is changing so rapidly because so many governments, cities, municipalities are bringing in laws or regulations or disclosures. Building codes get updated all the time. There is a big push for buildings to be net zero. Residential buildings, there's now a talk about standardizing or mandating a requirement for an energy score on any residential building or home. There are so many certifications, and especially after the pandemic, there was such a focus on wellness and healthy buildings that you have LEED, you have WELL, you have Fitment. Which certification to go with and which certification will get you the maximum bang for your buck. And then there's constant talk about carbon tax, waste tax, water taxes increasing. And as companies, there are a lot of disclosures that they have to do with this corporate social responsibility, there's TCFD disclosures, ISO greenhouse gas reporting, so many different reporting to do. Are you confused? Is it feeling a little bit overwhelming? That's probably why there is a lot of hesitancy to jump into doing any sort of energy efficiency upgrades or solution, even though it's one of the easiest and lowest hanging fruits to impactful climate change measures. So the how. I have a cold beer up on the slide here, and it may be confusing. So let me go into a little bit of a story. When I was doing my master's, there was this professor who was very impactful to me personally, and really shaped the way I looked at industry and the problem in general. We would have debates and discussions throughout, and after a particular enthusiastic debating session in one of the days, the professor asked all of us, okay, you care about being green, you care about the environment, you care about emissions. But at the end of the day, what does anybody want once they've gone back home after a really long, tiring day? We all want to open a cold beer. That's all we want to do. We may care about environment, we may care about emissions, we may care about all this whole host of things. But at the end of the day, we want to relax and have a good life. That is the biggest priority over anything else. And that could mean different things for different people. If we can align anything that we propose to what is it that a customer needs, that is the only way to make sure that any solution or any program has success. So let's talk about that a little bit. Some of the common barriers that a customer faces to implementing energy efficiency, like the slide that I showed before, the options are overwhelming. Sometimes there isn't even an awareness that there are all these different financial instruments that consumers can make use of to make sure that they don't take the full financial burden of what they are doing. There are a lot of coaching focused programs and webinars and information sessions held that people aren't aware of. Sometimes it's a lack of read, sometimes it's a lack of interest to get into it. And a lot of times you educate yourself only on things when you need it. So when someone is not always looking for energy efficiency solutions, they're not always aware of all the available tools out in the market that they can use. And when they are, they really want a reliable advisor to help them navigate through the different options that are there, provide unbiased opinions, and that they can actually use without actually losing out on any peace of mind. So technology helps with this a little bit, and there is some push from all levels of government to increase the workforce, to kill people and the labor market, to make sure that you have advisors available for people who need the advice. There are technological solutions that help you figure out which product would best suit a home or a commercial building or an industrial building. There are a lot of technology out in the market which makes energy efficiency a no-brainer. You can just set something up as occupancy-based, or you can set your heating and energy infrastructure automated so that you don't have to think about it. Then comes the investment part. So the small things like replacing your lights might be affordable, but when it comes to replacing your boilers or replacing the larger equipment or adding solar, for example, or having an electric vehicle charging station, all of that requires a lot of money. So there is capital constraints. Even with the richest industries, the money allocation is prioritized first to focus on their core business, on their operations, the base minimum that they need. And then the rest is squirreled away for reserves. And a lot of times the idea that if something's not broken, then we don't need to upgrade it is usually the lens that people look at it from. So there are lots of rebates and incentives. So we overcome that barrier with rebates and incentives, loans, and other financial instruments to make sure that money is not a barrier, or even resource is not a barrier. Then comes the lack of need. As I mentioned, a lot of times I personally would think of upgrading, say, the heating in my home only if it was broken. Proactively wanting to do it would depend on a lot of factors, depending on how much money I've saved, how much time I have available to research the different options I have. And really, just I would rather go out into the sun rather than think about fixing a broken heater that's not yet broken. So that's where the regulatory mechanisms come into play. Usually there are mandates that buildings have to be X% efficient when they're built. They need to have a minimum efficiency of XYZ if equipment is being installed. But regulatory mechanisms sometimes play catch up to market innovation. And this is where a lot of companies, nonprofits, organizations, municipalities all come together and address the one main theme, which is education and awareness of a customer going through their energy efficiency journey. Just explaining to them and providing timely advice on what are the benefits, why this actually matters, and how it could benefit them more than just reducing greenhouse gas emissions. And that's how we reach cracking open a cold beer. That is my presentation so far, and I think we can go into discussions and chat.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Disha. I loved how you walked us through your journey and also the focus you had on like your purpose and how you figured out this roadmap of how you manage your careers. very interesting and very insightful. So thank you very much. We do have some questions in the chat, so we'll start with those and see where the flow takes us. So our first question is from Sodiq, who says, "Hi, Disha. Thanks for the presentation. In your role as an energy engineer, you stated that you did some energy audits. Did you have to do some certifications or specialized courses in energy auditing?"
So I, at the time, worked for an energy service company. The short form is ESCOs, and I was provided a lot of hands-on training. But beyond that, utilities like ISO typically hold regular information sessions, training sessions to get started on the energy auditing journey. Certified energy manager, professional engineer, certified measurement and verification professional, certified commissioning agent. All of these are really great certifications to have if you're pursuing a career in energy as an energy engineer. I do know of people who have gone by without those certifications, but it makes the options to jump between companies or roles difficult if the certifications are absent.
Awesome, thank you very much. The next question we have is from Matthew DaCosta. Did you say that if we convert all of the existing buildings in Ontario to net zero buildings, it would reduce GHG emissions by 60 MT per year? Is that a lot? Assuming we could do this tomorrow, how much of a measurable impact will that have on either local climate or the global average temperatures?
Yes, that would be per year, and that would be about 40% of the total emissions that Ontario is currently emitting, because about 40% of emissions within Ontario come from buildings. And by buildings, that is residential buildings, commercial buildings, industrial buildings, all sorts of buildings. Sorry, what was the second part of the question?
It's assuming we could do this tomorrow, how much of a measurable impact will that have on either local climate or the global average temperatures?
So that is definitely a more difficult question to answer, because there isn't a linear correlation between, okay, if you reduce 60 megatons, then the temperature will drop by 1 degree Celsius. It's not apples to apples measurement or equation. It will have a considerable impact. The more discernible changes would be observable within the building to begin with. The air will feel cleaner. The health-related issues will reduce. To give an example, California, Los Angeles specifically, was one of the most polluted cities in the world. And California as a government decided to make sure that they hit targets and reduced emissions by about 40 to 50%. Wasn't just building focused, but building, transportation, and all the other sectors as well. And I heard stories. I used to live in Los Angeles before, and I heard firsthand stories of how people would walk out into the street if they were wearing a white shirt. It would gray out by the end of the day. And after 5 years of consistently maintaining lower emissions than what it was, the air got much cleaner. And there are photographs to show how, no matter what the lighting condition was, the photos would be grainy because there was so much dust and pollution in the air, versus 10 years later, much cleaner, much more beautiful, and you could actually see the sun. So,
okay, yeah. It's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Thank you for that very specific example. We have another question from Akin Ayowade, who says, what is the place of data analytics in achieving the 2030 or 2050 targets?
Data analytics is a very crucial part of achieving the targets, because you can't meet targets if you don't measure what you're doing. You can't measure impact if you're not tracking every single not every single data point, but as many data points as you possibly can, setting the right key performance indicators and measuring targets based on those indicators. You can also track your progress, but also make sure that you're overachieving.
Awesome. Thank you very much. We have a comment from Matthew DaCosta who says, excellent presentation, well prepared, thank you. I'm going to open it up for about 30 seconds for people to keep asking questions. But in the meantime, earlier I mentioned the Discovery Hub and how you can join a role on the Hub afterwards and follow. Disha has a profile up there so you can go read more about her story. Okay, before I go to that, I'll go to the question from Ishmael Nabi, who says, does GreenSaver do home audits to support the Canada Green Homes grants?
Yes, we do. You can contact me at outreach@greensaver.org and we can take it from there.
Alrighty. And so I'll also ask everyone if I can just share my screen, and I will share a quick video on the Discovery Hub and how you can learn more about roles like Disha's on that hub.
Hi there, my name is Kelsey Brazell and I am a project manager here at Efficiency Canada, and I'm here today to show you around the Discovery Hub. So you just finished your Becoming session and are probably feeling quite inspired by our speaker today. And I'm here to tell you that your journey's not over. And we really don't want our events to be kind of these one and done scenarios, but the Hub is actually a place where you can meet with the folks that you are on the call with today or our speaker and just stay connected. The Hub's meant to be a one-stop shop for you to be able to find people in the sector, training opportunities, networking opportunities, jobs, all sorts of things. So I'm just going to show you around quickly. And then after the event, we will send you an invite to join us. So this is the Discovery Hub. And here you can do three things. So you can learn about roles within the energy efficiency sector, match it with your interests and see what's right for you. You can connect with real people in the sector and also people who are also curious about getting into the sector through the guides portal. So there's things like a virtual campfire that you can join, which is pretty cool. And then finally, you can apply. So you can apply for courses that you might want to sign up for or jobs within the sector. So those are your three avenues. What I'm going to show you right now is if I click into roles, it's going to take me to this role page. I can watch this lovely video of one of our human energy champions, and then I can click on roles based on my interests. So I can filter through topic, or I can hop right in. So if I click in here, I'm going to be able to see a description of a role in energy efficiency. I'm going to be able to see real employers or trainers or people shaping this role in the sector. And then I can do those three things again. I can learn about the role, I can connect with folks, and then I can apply. So in the learn phase, you're able to read some different resources, read stories of our human energy champions who are actually in this role, see past Becoming sessions, as well as courses. So these are all courses that you can take to become an energy advisor. You also get a nice window into what the community is talking about. So you can see the types of things that are being shared, the people who are gathering in this space, and then ultimately you can apply. So you can go to our job board and see the different job opportunities that are available for that role. So let's say this is for you. You would click here, join the community, and it's going to pop up and say, okay, you're leaving our website and you're going into the guides portal. It'll prompt you to make a login, like a profile, or if I've invited you, you'll be able to pop right in. So this is where you're actually going to be able to like interact with the stuff that you're seeing on the website. So if you're actually interested in a course, you can click view. It's going to show you a description. If you click go to course, it's going to take you to the website so that you can actually register. The other things you can do is interact with folks. So like I said, you can join a campfire. So that's over here. It's an online like virtual conferencing call. So you can have kind of an impromptu. If other people are online, they'll show up, or you can invite people to the campfire. So sometimes we'll be hosting campfires and you'll be able to see an event pop up here. And then this is how you can interact with the things that are being posted in the journal. You can post reflections. I'm an energy advisor and this is what the day in the life is like. If you're somebody who has questions, hey, I'm just curious. Where can I go to figure out the different opportunities that energy advisors have in Alberta, or how much does an energy advisor typically make? All sorts of different questions. You would go here, you can type them, or you can record them, and it'll post both here and on the website that we were on earlier. And so this is where you'll be able to find all of the resources for the specific roles that you're interested in. And you can join as many as you'd like. We'll invite you to the one that's relevant to this becoming session, but ultimately you could be part of many different roles depending on what you're looking to get into. So I hope that helps. And we're so excited to have you join the community. There's over 100 employers or partners involved with the hub, and our community is just rapidly growing. So welcome. And we can't wait to perhaps meet around the campfire.
Alrighty. Okay. So we have about 5 minutes left. I said we have another question from Rod. Disha, the question is, hi Disha and Sidi, I'm gonna give you the floor first. Perhaps this is a question for you both. For those interested in entering the energy efficiency and sustainability sector, what is a good base education to have?
Sure. So I would really recommend starting off as an advisor. Canadian Association for Energy Advisors, I think it's called CANREA, and CIET, Canadian Institute for Energy Training. Both offer continuous courses throughout the year to get upskilled. There is a lot of incentive if you are currently working that your employer can support and provide to get those certifications. I say advisor more because you get to see on-ground realities straight away, and you get to interact with a customer and understand their needs and infrastructure hands-on. It does require a little bit of a technical background though. Bachelor in Science or engineering would help a lot, although not critical. For sustainability, there are lots of courses available on both Coursera and a lot of universities, including top universities like MIT and Stanford, who are offering professional accelerated 6 months to 1 year programs, even online, that you can take and get certified as a sustainability professional. And that'll get you into the industry as well. Energy and sustainability, though go hand in hand, are a little bit different from each other.
Yeah, I agree with that answer. I think that the energy route, Disha's advice is excellent about taking the energy advisor route. For sustainability, I think there's so many options, and that you just can craft it based on what your interests are. So we do have a great series here at Efficiency Canada called Our Human Energy, and we profile different career paths people took in the sector. So I'll pop them in the chat, and perhaps reading through some of those will be helpful. I'd like to thank everyone very much for attending today. I'd like to thank you so much, Disha, for a very well-crafted, amazing presentation and your great answers. So thank you very much to everyone. Wishing you all a great evening, and thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.